In this installment, we're going to be going over the Monday Night Football Showdown slate on Draftkings. We got a nice game for the NFC between the Minnesota Vikings going up against the San Francisco 49ers. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to give you the winning ingredients for our Monday Night Football Showdown slate on DraftKings between the Minnesota Vikings and we got the San Francisco 49ers. But before I deep dive into this very, very intriguing slate, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNetShetsD. Don't forget about that TikTok at Chef_D91. And don't forget about the Patreon. If you guys want to get connected with best bets, future bets, get with that link that's provided down below. Right now, we're on the home screen right now of the YouTube channel. We are currently at 1.44 thousand subscribers. Our goal is going to be 2K. Let's go. So continue to push forward. Keep hitting that subscribe button, especially if you're a viewer right now and not currently a subscriber. Why not? Hit that subscribe button right now. It is free, and I will love the support as well. Before we go into our captains and flex plays, I'm going to break down the injury report for you. This is the Minnesota Vikings side of the injury report. Not that many injuries to report on the Vikings side. Ezra Cleveland, their starting guard, is not going to be able to make this game. Obviously, they have no Justin Jefferson as well. So those are going to be two key components for the Minnesota Vikings. Everyone else is questionable, so they're likely to play in this game. All right. Now, for the 49ers, we did receive positive news on Christian McCaffrey, their stud running back. He is trending towards playing on Monday, so that's going to be a positive. Dre Greenlaw, who got injured in the last game, he's trending towards playing. But the big news here is going to be Trent Williams, their starting tackle. Their starting tackle is going to be out for this game, all right, protecting the blind side of Brock Purdy. So that could be a key factor for the Minnesota side of the football on that D-line to get to Brock Purdy and make things a little more ugly, all right? So let's get into our captain plays. Starting off at the captain position, we're going to look all the way at the tippy top here with Christian McCaffrey at $8,000 of salary. Now, since he has been confirmed that he's going to play, all right, obviously just stay glued to the news just in case crazy happens. But Christian McCaffrey is going to play. This is technically a really good matchup, all right, against the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota Vikings, they do give up a lot of yards receiving-wise to opposing wide receivers, and that's how the 49ers utilize Christian McCaffrey, obviously, in multiple facets. They're going to rush the ball with him, and they're going to use him as a pass catcher. So we got a dual threat here, and he's had two bad games in a row in Week 5 and Week 6. Still got you a touchdown in each one of those weeks, but that's not the typical Christian McCaffrey game. 14 fantasy points. That's very, very subpar. Christian McCaffrey, we're used to seeing 25, 30, even 40 fantasy points in games with Christian McCaffrey. So coming back, he should be ready here, healthy enough to give it a full go. Hey, if injuries happen, that it is what it is, all right? We're going with the belief that he's going to be good enough to play in this game. So we're going to be playing Christian McCaffrey in each and every one of our lineups. You do not want to fade this type of asset here because they are without Deebo Samuel. So that just lessens the targets, all right? So it's going to be Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, and you got George Kittle. That's going to be the focus for the majority of these plays that are going to be for the San Francisco 49ers. It's going to be focused on those three guys, all right? So Christian McCaffrey is going to be a focal point at the captain position, all right? Next guy we're going to be talking about that has high upside at the captain spot will be Brandon Ayuk. All the eyes are going to be on Christian McCaffrey. But, hey, remember, Deebo Samuel is out. Brandon Ayuk is the number one wide receiver on this offense, and we've seen it. He's had big games already this year against Arizona. 6 for 148. He had 23 fantasy points in that game. In Week 1, he came out on fire. 8 receptions, 8 targets, 129 yards, and 2 TDs. He's yet to get in the end zone. since week 1. I like Brandon Ayuk right now. We're going to put that on the board. I love Brandon Ayuk to get a TD in this game, so do not forget about that. Write that down myself. It just came to my head. All right, so we're rolling with Brandon Ayuk. I need a good pen here. Rolling with Brandon Ayuk TD. All right. Love Brandon Ayuk in this game here. And especially with Deebo Samuel out, he's going to be that number 1 option. We're going to see 8, 9, 10 targets going his way. Love Brandon Ayuk, all right? So he's going to be a main play in each and every one of our lineups here. Brock Purdy, it's a good matchup for him. Brock Purdy, it's a good matchup for him. He is going to be without his guy, Trent Williams. So we'll see how the least benefit of Minnesota is going to be that D-line. Can they get to Brock Purdy and create some havoc? That's going to be the question mark here. He should be in a spot to get you another performance of 20 fantasy points. He's done it already 3 times this year. 26 against Dallas, 21 against Arizona, 23 against the Giants. That's what you want. If we're playing Brock Purdy, he's going to have to bring that type of performance. He's going to have over 250 yards passing. He's going to have multiple touchdowns, right? He's going to have 2 touchdowns in this game passing wise. So we can consider him as a captain. Matter of fact, I wouldn't like him as a captain. He's more of a flex play. I'd rather lean on the pass catchers because they have more upside, all right? We're saying that right now. Ayuk, higher upside. Christian McCaffrey, higher upside. George Kittle, higher upside, all right? So we're going to move Brock Purdy to a flex play. I did have to bring him up. Kirk Cousins, he's more of a flex play because if he's going to have a good game and go off, obviously he can go, have one of those games where it's 3, 4, 5 touchdowns in a game. But we're going to lean on his pass catchers in this type of environment. I expect him to be leaned on heavily because we have another situation here where you're missing your number 1 guy. And the next guy in line, TJ Hockenson, he's a candidate to have a way bigger game than what Kirk Cousins could put on the board. So Kirk Cousins is going to be moved to a flex play as well. So we're going to go to TJ Hockenson. He's our captain play that I like. If we want to go to that Minnesota Vikings side, he had 2 subpar performances without Justin Jefferson. And we're waiting for that big exploding game. This could be the one here, all right? With the strength of the San Francisco 49ers, obviously they have solid linebackers, very good corners, and just a very intimidating D-line. This is where they can exploit the safety play, all right? And that's TJ Hockenson. He is a top-tier talent at the tight end position, and they're going to need to utilize him in this game so they can at least create some mismatches going up against this 49ers defense. So TJ Hockenson is a smash play at the captain spot, all right? The next player we can consider will be Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison here, the rookie wide receiver. He steps into the place of Justin Jefferson here. So he's going to be receiving a high volume of targets. He has a tough matchup in this going up against the secondary in the San Francisco 49ers. So that's why you might temper expectations for him. But hey, he's going to get a high volume. Say if this game gets out of hand, or just to take advantage of the 49ers, they're going to need to utilize his route running ability. And he is a very, very precise runner, as we saw in Pittsburgh and in USC. Jordan Addison has already shown he's capable of handling and been very, very good so far this year. He has 4 touchdowns already this season. So he's already become an asset for Kirk Cousins in the red zone, someone he looks for. So I like Jordan Addison as our final play at the captain spot. Let's move on to the flex plays. Starting off with the flex plays, we're going to go straight to George Kittle. You'd be like, hey, George Kittle, why he's not a captain play? With the injury to Trent Williams, that brings up a big question. And that brings up a question of protection. And we know George Kittle is a huge asset on that offensive line as a blocker, run blocking as well. And hey, he's going to have to help. If things get out of hand, they're going to be keeping George Kittle on that offensive line for protection for Brock Purdy, all right, if they need it, okay? And with your best tackle out, a world-class tackle in Trent Williams, if he's out, Since he is out, George Kittle is going to have to protect a little bit more. That's going to take away from his routes he's going to be running in this offense. So that's why I bumped him down from captain to a flex play. But obviously he has upside, all right? He's Jekyll and Hyde. He either is going to have a 0 or well below double-digit fantasy points, as you can see, 1, 1.9, 6, 4, or he's going to go off. 16 against Giants, 27 against Dallas. That's what you're getting. You're either getting good or you're getting really, really bad. So in this scenario here with no Trent Williams, I expect George Kittle to have a bad game. That's why I bumped him down to a flex play. But hey, if you want to go that route, then I'm leaving him right there for you guys, all right? Let's continue to go down this list. It's not a great matchup for Alexander Mattison here because the 49ers run D is pretty stout, but you do not want to abandon the running game, all right? You still want to make sure that it is a threat, and if they mix things up well, then you can catch the 49ers off guard in some certain scenarios where Mattison can pop off some runs, and he is a very good pass catcher, all right? Do not be worried about Cam Akers. Alexander Mattison is the number 1 running back in this offense because Cam Akers is not talented, all right? So Madison is on a streak of 4 games in a row of over double-digit fantasy points. So him as a flex play, as a fill-in, I would not mind him being as a flex play. And if he gets in the end zone, that's going to be icing on the cake. So I am fine with that play there. So that's why we could go towards Alexander Mattison there as a flex play, all right? Some of the other guys we're going to be looking at, KJ Osborne. He's now the number 2 wide receiver on the offense. He's had a solid rapport with Kirk Cousins last year and this year as well, all right? He's had some nice games earlier in the season, 10.6 against the Chargers, 12.4 against Philly. He has 2 touchdowns already this year. He's getting a nice solid amount of targets. We're talking about at least 5 targets a game at least. And now with Justin Jefferson out the picture, he might see some more targets coming his way. So we could consider KJ Osborne in this game environment, especially if things get ugly and they get down, then they're going to be forced to throw that football. All right. Next, continue to go down the list here for the San Francisco 49ers. Do not forget about Elijah Mitchell, all right? So we do have a 50%, well, we think it's 100% Christian McCaffrey, but they are going to be utilizing Elijah Mitchell. He's going to be back and healthy in this game. Obviously, he missed a few weeks earlier in the season, got a couple carries against Cleveland. He's going to see another a handful of touches here. He could vulture a TD with all the ownership on Christian McCaffrey. Could be a sneaky play here if you want to go with Elijah Mitchell. Say if it's a blowout. We already seen what Jordan Mason did in cleanup time. Elijah Mitchell can do very, very similar things, and it doesn't take much. It takes one run for him, and he can take it all the way to the house. So Elijah Mitchell is considered a flex play in this lineup build. All right, now for defenses and kickers, on both sides are going to be viable, okay? Obviously, 49ers defense is one of the top-tier defenses in the league, and we're going up against a hampered Minnesota weapons-wise on the offensive side. That's why you can go towards the 49ers D. And then the Vikings side, if you want to be really contrarian here, they have some upside here. If they can get to the quarterback with no Trent Williams, they can exploit that and put more guys on that side and really create some havoc up there for Brock Purdy, especially coming off his first loss here. Then we can see a spot here on the road. Brock Purdy not feeling 100% confident now. He's not going on a high horse now at winning game after game after game. This is a different environment now. You're coming off a loss. How are you going to respond? That's going to be a big question mark there. So I think it's going to be very sneaky if you go towards that Vikings defense as well. They are home, so that's going to be a benefit as well. So viable on both sides, kickers and defenses. Let's continue down with some cheaper plays down low, all right? Now, a sneaky wide receiver that you can consider, we got 2 guys. You got Juwan Jennings, who has stepped up. He's going to play some solid amount of snaps with Deebo Samuel out. He always has come through. He's always been there as that number 3 wide receiver on this team. So I wouldn't be surprised if he comes down with a solid game. But I think someone that's going to be a little bit more dangerous, a little bit more explosive is Ronnie Bell. Ronnie Bell is going to be one of the wide receivers I like as a punt play. Last guy to fill in as your flex. Ronnie Bell has some explosiveness coming from Notre Dame. I've watched a lot of his games. He can stretch the field. He's a small guy, but has a lot of speed and can separate. So he can be an X factor in this lineup build for Monday Night Football. So we'll pop him in there. And if we have anyone else down below, I think that's how far as we're going to go. We got Brandon Powell here. He's technically the number 3 wide receiver on this team for the Minnesota Vikings, and he might be seeing a solid amount of touches as well. So if we're looking for punt wide receivers, you got Ronnie Bell on the San Francisco 49ers side, and you got Brandon Powell on the Minnesota Vikings side. All right, so let's go with our guaranteed plays in this slate. All right, the 2 guaranteed. Well, I'm gonna give you 3. We gotta have Brandon Ayuk. We gotta have T.J. Hockenson. All right, those 2 are gonna be my definites in each and every lineup, and also Christian McCaffrey. All right, now you go heavy like that, you might need to get creative. We're putting some cheaper options at that captain spot so you can fill in the rest. But having $4,300 less left in your lineup build, you can go with a kicker on one of the sides and still be able to afford have enough salary to fill out the rest of your lineup. All right. Right now, let's see. You have $8,600 left. You can't afford any of the quarterbacks, so you're gonna have to get creative. Move down Brandon Ayuk, put up a cheaper option up top, and maybe go with a Jordan Addison up top to save some salary there, and you can fit in your favorite quarterback that you like. But this is a game that I don't think that the over is going to hit, and that's why I'm leaning more to kickers and defenses. So you can fade both QBs and then get down here with the kickers and defenses to fill in the rest of your lineup there as well. So if you just stick with these solid 3 guys, I think these are the 2 definites is Ayuk and Hockenson. All right. If you can afford Christian McCaffrey, obviously, hey, then you bump him up, and you're going to need to build lineups with these 3 guys and then mix and match from there. All right. So thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MessageSD. And I'll be back with another video very soon.